Are the New Orleans Saints stuck in the middle? Ladies and gentlemen, the backdrop, New Orleans football, Nick Underhill, Mike Triplett. We're going to be talking about this idea that the Saints are just going nowhere fast, stuck in the middle, hanging out, doing nothing, going nowhere. So we're going to break that down here. I'm going to react, face of the franchise. Kick back, enjoy yourselves. Let's go.
Is presented by Aaron Rose. Free agency's kind of in full swing at this point. The Saints have made some additions. They're still shopping for some other players.
Yes.
Do we feel like they've done anything to like really materially improve to this point?
Justin Reed, for sure, is an improvement. No doubt about it. For sure, improved city.
Yeah, I mean, materially is a strong word. If they stop now, and I don't think they will stop now, but if they stop now, I feel like they're just kind of running it back. And some of the players who started to fade last year are going to fade a little more because they're a year older.
Yep.
That their big spendings are Chase Young and Juwan Johnson. That doesn't make it feel like a new team, even though I understand why those signings make sense.
Well, Reed.
No, I'm saying that their biggest spendings, yeah. But, yeah, that's what I was going to say. So the only new additions are, so far, Justin Reed, Isaac Yiadom, Devon Godchaux. That should make you a little better. But, I mean, if it's a team I picked to go 8-9 last year, after they were, built the roster in the summer, it's probably a team I'm going to pick to go 8-9 again this year. And so
now, this is going to blow your mind, okay? But that is what the Saints' goal, not 8-9, but the Saints' goal is: can we be a 500 to 9-win, 10-win-ish at the max team that can compete for the division, improve at some positions, which, I mean, we haven't even seen the draft, so who knows, while we are rebuilding? That is like the goal. The goal is not, like, I hear people all the time who are like, well, like the Justin Reed thing. I'm applauding the Justin Reed situation. And people are like, why is it a big deal? We're still going to win 6 games next year. We're still going to win 7 games next year. It's like, man, you got to see, you got to like look. It's not about next year. It's about the next 5 years. It's about the next 10 years. We have a 36-year-old head coach, okay? The Saints are offloading, finishing out the last little bit of the careers / contracts of Taysom Hill, Derek Carr, Demario Davis, Cam Jordan, Tyrann Mathieu, Ryan Ramczyk in a couple of weeks here is going to retire. Like, we are turning this whole thing over. We're turning this whole thing around. The fact that we can do that and maintain some kind of relevancy where you win 8 games, you win 9 games, you maybe compete for a division. Who the hell knows? Like, that's the move. That's the mindset we're going for, right? So keep that in mind when you're kind of like grading what the Saints are doing and where they're at. The fact that they have improved, I mean, there's no way you can say that the team, and again, this is before the draft, so who knows what's going to happen in the draft. But the fact that the team as of right now is as good or better than the team starting the season last year, very impressive. And let me get this part clear too. I'm not a eternal optimist. Like, when things are bad, I'll be critical of it. When players are bad, I am critical of them. When coaches are bad, I am critical of them. I mean, we were waving the flag for Pete Carmichael to be fired, for Dennis Allen to be fired. We celebrated when Dennis Allen got fired. If bad trades or signings or whatever are made, we will absolutely ring that bell, okay? But I am going to call it like I see it. I'm not pushing sunshine and rainbows or whatever. I'm not just full on everything's positive all the time, but I'm also not a doomer. Okay, so you're going to get just straight up, fair and balanced, my review, preview, whatever. So keep that also in mind, all right?
That's why I kind of present the question in the headline, are they stuck in the middle? You've made the point, if you're going to keep a Derek Carr and you're going to spend all that money on a Derek Carr, do you have to go full in? Like, should they really be trying to get Cooper Kupp in here? Should they be trying to get Mekhi Becton in here? I mean, is that... Or we've talked to death about how we thought they should reset. We thought they might reset.
By the way, y'all see this light pumping in here? So the studio has one like glass wall basically. When it is a cloudy day, this is brutal. Whenever it's like cloudy and then sunny and then cloudy and then sunny, because we set the exposure on the cameras. And when the sun peaks in like that but then goes away, that's what causes that like exposure flash. So if you're seeing that, that's what's going on. I'm not getting nuclear bombed.
They're not resetting. Is the middle the worst place to be, or is it? I don't mind approaching free agency with just a couple of smart signings for most teams in general, but I'm just really torn on these Saints. Like, if they're not resetting and they're not clearly getting better, I think that's where the fan base is kind of stuck right now too.
Yeah, I mean, look, the thing about we're going to see, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like they're actively in the mix on Cooper Cup right now. 1:36 p.m. on Friday afternoon is we're recording this. He'll probably be on a team by the time this thing goes out tonight, if there's any progress on this. So we'll kind of see where that one goes. But it shows they're trying to get away from it. And if they don't get him, I imagine they try to get somebody else. I don't think they're just going to go out and throw money around or whatever. I don't think they're willing to outbid anyone on Cooper Cup. I think they're kind of
Yeah, I mean, Cooper Cup signs for 3 years, $45 million. That would have been insane to make that signing. Like, that would have been nuts. We covered the Cooper Cup thing yesterday. 3 years, $45 million for Cooper Cup is absolutely bananas. That would have been a horrific signing for the Saints. Thank God that did not happen.
willing to put their price down, see if he wants to be here. If he wants to be here, he can come here, take their money, and play for the Saints. If not, he can go somewhere else. So we'll kind of see where that's at on that. I think they have gotten better. I mean, I think Godchow and Reed help your run defense.
Yeah, for sure. That's one area you needed to get better in.
That really need to that need to get better. And then we heard Reed today talking about how he sees himself as the tone setter. I think they need that on the defense.
I mean, this sun is driving me crazy. Like, it's blowing my mind. Let me show you all what happens. So you can set the exposure, right? So we set the exposure on the camera. So like, this is how you set it for if it's going to be really sunny. But as you can see, when it's not sunny, then it makes me look like I'm in the dark. All right, so I guess we'll just sit here because I guess the sun's going to keep poking out. Let me talk about this whole resetting thing. This part right here, I flat out don't understand, because the philosophy behind it is very much like NBA, kind of an NBA world, where you're either the super teams or you suck, and there's no in between. In the NBA, that is kind of true, because you only have 5 players on the court, right? So like, it is much more top heavy of you become a super team, you spend, you get big time players, or you probably lose. But in the NFL, like, this idea of resetting, this idea of being stuck in the middle and all this other stuff, like, I just don't get that. I do not think that is a thing. I don't think that exists. I mean, when you look at really good teams or really good franchises, there isn't a reset. You know, like the Steelers, the Ravens, like teams like that just win. They just constantly win. They're constantly good. They're constantly consistent. There isn't this reset that everyone keeps talking about. Even like the Bengals right now, right? Like, the Bengals we would consider a good team. You know, like Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Trey Hendrickson. They have injuries at times, but whatever. Overall, pretty good team that can compete, whatever. They've been 9-8 for 2 years in a row. Are they stuck in the middle? Literally, yes. Like 9-8 back-to-back years, you are literally stuck in the middle. But nobody would like say the Bengals are just middling, or they're just nothing, or they're stuck in the middle, or they should reset. Like, those terms just are really weird to me. You know, like, I just have never seen a intentional reset work in the NFL. You know, like, you have to be really, 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 really lucky for a reset to work. I can't really think of one. Like, I guess the Commanders would be like what you'd consider a reset, but even then, like, kinda. I mean, I think resets, like, that definition happens like retroactively. I'll tell you this right now. Derek Carr, like Mike's question is, if you have Derek Carr, do you have to go all in? That is the opposite of what you should do at Derek Carr. Derek Carr or a Kirk Cousins or a whoever, any of those kind of quarterbacks who are towards the end of their career, who are average to above average quarterbacks at times, in that middle tier payment plan, what you should do with those quarterbacks is you should already have something kind of existing, and they should just either propel you a win, get you from 8 wins to 9 wins and 10 wins, or just keep the ship afloat and just be a guy who it's like, look, very similar to Geno, very similar to those kind of players where you're trying to maintain that 8 to 10 wins. You're trying to exist in that world. And that's what they are. So I don't think Derek Carr is like, oh, well, we have Derek Carr on the roster, you have to go all in. What does that even mean? And Mekhi Becton, he ends up signing with the Bears, I believe, but he's a guy who it's like, man, that would have been a great signing because he's not a one-year guy like Cooper Kupp. He's not a 1-2 year, see what you can get out of him, go all in. He's a cornerstone like Chase Young, like Justin Reed. He's building for that future that we keep talking about, that next chapter that will be here in 2026, 2027.
As well. So I think those things make them a little bit better. And look, I think there is an element of realism here where the team's going to be healthier than it was last year. I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, they're going to be better than 5-12. Yeah. I'm talking more about like, have they gotten better in the overall sense? Yeah, like I said, I'm comparing it to where I was at in the summer of last year.
Yeah, I probably feel the same way. I probably feel the same way. Yeah, I feel like they're probably a team that's good enough to win the NFC South if they stay healthy and they get a couple breaks. Yeah, I mean that's just kind of where everybody's at in this division, though. But I think that there's a sentiment within the fan, like a segment of the fan base that this is the worst team ever assembled and the worst quarterback to ever play football. And like, I don't think any of that stuff is true either.
I won't identify how I'm related to this a diehard Saints fan in case he doesn't want to be outed. But he texted me even after the Isaac Yiadom signing yesterday. So I think it's after every signing they've made so far and said Saints are going 0-17 this year. And I'm like, They win like 8 games every single year, and they're putting that same 8-win team back out there. You can hate that. You can hate being an 8-win team every year, a 9-win team every year, a 5-win team when you're injured. But they did not become an 0-17 team. That definitely did not happen. But that is what it feels like when with the fan base right now. No question about it. So I guess that's my question: is that okay? Like I sat here last year. Exactly this time last year, and I liked the approach to free agency. They didn't overspend. They didn't mortgage their future. They signed a couple of 25-year-old guys in Chase Young and Willie Gay to 1-year deals, and I liked that. And I like that in general. Like, they were in on Charvarius Ward. They're in on Cooper Kupp. Like, if the deals are right, they're going to make some splash signings, but they're not making splash signings at all costs. When they didn't sign Charvarius Ward, they go and make a nice budget signing with Isaac Yiadom.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've talked about this. I talked about this in yesterday's, or I don't know when this is going to go out, but I talked about this in a recent video where it's like, guys, I mean, I'm getting people who are like, I cannot believe we signed Dante Pettis. This is ridiculous. It's like, brother, it's a 1-year, like $2 million deal. It's virtually nothing. It should not even be occupying your mind. Like the MVS thing. My whole point with the MVS video wasn't that we should not have or should have kept MVS. The point is, it does not matter at all. Like, he is a D- player who will be replaced with a D- player on a basically minimum contract. Like, these very, very, very tiny baby decisions don't matter. Like, they're just happening in the flow of the NFL offseason. You have to fill a roster. You have to fill a practice squad. You have to have special teams players. Like, it is not that big of a deal, So, but it has become, and I know it's not just the Saints. It's part of every fan base where it's like this 24-hour news cycle where everything is so hyper magnetized that there are people texting Mike after a Dante Pettis signing or after a whatever signing saying the Saints are 0-17. And I don't know. I'm really not sure I mean, I have my own my theories of why some of this has happened. Some of the segmentation has happened. I think certain voices do rage bait, and I think they do clickbait, and I think they do live in that world where the screaming and the negativity and the criticism is way easier. It's always easier to be pessimistic. It's always easier to be kind of anti something. And I think after enough of that, a fan base is a segment of the fan base has agreed, like, there's nothing Derek Carr can do right. There's nothing Mickey Loomis can do right. There's nothing, all these players can do right. Like that tone. And it's a very toxic tone. It's a very interesting thing, to basically hate your favorite team. It's a wild place to be, for sure. But that is exactly what Mike's talking about. Like, that's who's texting him saying they're going 0-17.
And it might be the same. It's not like they're if they don't sign Cooper Kupp, they're signing Keenan Allen or Amari Cooper. They're not spending no matter what. And I like that approach to free agency. You pick your spots.
Yeah.
But just with this team, like, I'm wondering, is this still the right approach for this team? And I'm a little more torn than I have been in other years.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to do the thing every week where we're like, well, I don't agree with this, but this is what to do. So we're going to analyze it through this. You know what I mean? Like, we did that with Derek Carr forever. It's like, well, we think they should do this with that. There's two paths. They should be down this one, but like, I'm over here, but like, they're over there and they're doing that. And I think Derek Carr's this quarterback and he ranks with this guy and that guy. Like, we do that every single time. So like, it's annoying. Like, our take on this has been very clear that we would have picked one of two ways to try to start a reset, like kind of usher out some of the older guys or usher out the quarterback, but kind of pick one of those and go with it. They aren't doing that. Right. So like,
but they are. All right. The reset, the idea of the reset, the idea of the rebuild with the Saints, I think people, again, this is going to kind of blow your mind here, but the reset is happening. The Saints are resetting. They are rebuilding. But because it doesn't look like the stereotypical reset or rebuild, people are like, they cannot latch on to the idea that the Saints are actually doing what they want to do. Like, let's really step back and think about this. What do you want the Saints to do? 90% of people are going to say, get younger, get rid of the bad contracts, bring in new voices, bring in new ideas, right? Okay, well, let's think about what the Saints have done. Fired Dennis Allen, fired Pete Carmichael, brought in Clint Kubiak, brand new, young, innovative voice. Fired everyone, pretty much, and brought in the youngest coaching staff in NFL history with Kellen Moore as your head coach, Brandon Staley as your DC, all of that A++. Okay, everyone would agree. Young, innovative, outside voice, something new, whatever. Check mark. Get younger. Saints have more draft picks than they have had going into a draft in like the last 10 or 15 years. They've got 8 draft picks. Okay, they just got another 7th, a compensatory pick with so the Godshaw trade basically was nothing. So they're getting younger by signing Justin Reed, extending Chase Young, letting MVS walk, not going after Cooper Kupp. They're going to bring in 7, 8 draft picks this year. The older players are a year-ish away from being done, being off the roster, or their contracts expiring, or them retiring, or whatever. So check mark. We are in the process of that. We are in the process of getting younger, getting cheaper, same exact thing. Okay, you're not spending crazy amount of money to keep Paulson and Debo. You don't spend $50 million to keep a Debo. You go get Isaac Yiadom. I know they're not the same player, but see what I'm saying? They're trying to pick their spots with some deals. They're restructuring these contracts. They're saving, like the Chase Young contract saves them money. The Godshaw contract is going to end up saving them money, yes, next year when they release them. The Derek Carr restructure, like the Cam Jordan, the Demario Davis restructure, the Eric McCoy restructure. Like, all this is happening. But because it's not a tear it down, rip the Band-Aid off, go 0-17, draft first overall, because it's not that, it's like people can't see the forest through the trees.
Analyzing it through their approach, like I go back to the thing where, okay, if you're going to do this, then actually do it. Like try to win. Like try to do the things to win and to win the division. Don't take that the half measure. So
Right.
For me, I like if I'm the GM, I'm not going all in. But like if they're doing it anyhow, yeah, then go get Cooper Kupp, go get Becton, like do these things, because if this is what you're trying to do, then commit to it and commit to the path. That's where I'm at on it. I don't think it should be at all costs or anything, but like I don't think they should be doing a few of the things they're already doing.
But if Nick and Mike both agree on two things, that this is a 500 team, all right, 8 wins, 9 wins, ball bounces, whatever. They both have said that so far, and we haven't done the draft, where you can get some of your most impactful players. Free agency's not over, and they have both already said, like, yeah, the team is better than last year. So this is another example of Nick is saying basically, like, if you're trying to win the division, try and win the division. The front office would argue we are. We are exactly doing that. Like, we are trying to win the division. We are trying to get better. We brought in Justin. We're bringing in these players. We're picking our spots. We're not done yet with free agency. Who knows who we get at 9th overall? Like, if everyone stays healthy, you bring in some better players. You upgrade a tiny bit while getting younger. Getting out under the cap more. Establishing these young coaches. You win 9-10 games while quote unquote resetting. Damn. Like, what more can you ask for? Even if you win 9 games and you're just in the hunt for the division and you don't win the division, but you're a game away or whatever, I'll take that as my reset. Like, that right there, that ain't that bad.
Oh, at this point,
just
win the games. Do what you got to do.
That's the right question. Since this is the path they've chosen, would you feel better? I think I would feel better if they added 1 or 2 more. Now, I don't think Cooper Kupp or Mekhi Becton. I mean, I think we're probably looking at 3-year, $35 million deals for those guys. We're not looking at $100 million deals for those guys. So, yeah, 1 or 2 more of those, I think, would make me be like, all right,
Becton would have been
now
huge.
I actually see a path to winning the NFC South. I don't see an NFC South winner yet. There's just too many holes. Now, we're going to talk about this later, obviously, in the mailbag too. A little preview, but they've got 6 picks coming in the first 4 rounds of the draft. We're going to feel a lot better about the team after April too, but April also. But since they've chosen this path, since they kept the entire band back together from last year, I still see a couple of holes. I think I'd like to see.
Yeah, I mean, no shit. Like, of course there's holes. This is a 5-win team who you are resetting. There is a draft coming up. Like you just said, there's all these picks in the first 100 players or whatever, 100 picks. Free agency isn't over. Like, someone sent me, Colin Cowherd apparently already did, like, NFC South previews. Brother, the team isn't even assembled. Like, how are people doing previews? How are people coming to conclusions of, like, yeah, this team probably can't win the South or can't do this? Like, imagine previewing the Washington Commanders last year before they drafted Jaden Daniels. Yeah, I don't think this Commanders team is going to compete. Of course not. They're ass. They have to rebuild. They have to get players. They have to bring in new players. Like, we have no clue what this team is going to look like. All we know is that right now they are already better than last year, and they're probably going to be a 500 team at worst. If you told me the Saints are going to win 8 games, 9 games next year, I would say, damn, that's pretty okay. That's pretty nice. We've boosted up 3-4 wins from the previous year. We are resetting. We're still competitive. I'm just choked to death live on camera. We're resetting. We have this young coaching staff. Kellen Moore's first year, he wins 8, 9, 10 games. Like, I consider that a success. I consider that a success. Meanwhile, people would be reeing for that. And that's like the big divide. The big divide is, I guess, where you put in the goalposts and what you think about the roster.
A guard or a receiver.
Both.
Yeah, or both. Asante Samuel's still out there at corner. I don't think they're going that route since they signed Yadam, or that. Like, fill a couple more holes if you're going to go this route too. Give yourself a real chance.
Yeah, I mean, don't spend dumb money. Like, if Cooper Kupp
don't spend 3 year $45 million on Cooper Kupp.
Doesn't take your offer, but then go get Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
Like, whatever you got to. If you are doing this, just do it. Like, just do it. Like, go after it in a measured type of approach. Like, I don't want to see like all out recklessness. If you think Asante Samuel, A, isn't worth it, B, can't stay healthy, don't pay him. Like, don't pay Cooper Kupp for 2021. 2021 was a long time ago. It's 2025 now. He's a guy that plays about 10, 11, 12 games a year, doesn't get open the way he used to. This isn't the guy that was giving Marshawn Lattimore nightmares, but he's still somebody that...
Probably still give Marshawn nightmares right now.
they're both, I guess they're still on the same path together. Yeah, so maybe, but you know what I mean? Like, he isn't that guy though. That guy that was like, just like a 1,900-yard guy. He's not that anymore, but he's probably somebody that can give you 50 yards a game and 60 yards a game and can get open
on this team.
He'll make a physical catch. He'll give you, he'll give you the big dog, all that stuff. Like, but yeah, I'm not outbidding anyone for him. Like, I don't have to have him at all costs, but I think it is a good idea if you are doing what they're doing to try to have that other receiver. So whatever they do, like, I just want to see their approach and feel like they're committed to an approach. And like, I don't necessarily know that I felt that at all since Jameis, Andy season. That was.
I also think it's interesting. Me and Deuce were tweeting about this, not McAllister, and we were talking about how, like, and this is more of the fantasy football Madden thing, but I hear all the time people are like, well, just offer Cooper Kupp a 1 year prove it deal. It's like, brother, you're like $40 million off. Like the Justin Fields thing. Like, yeah, we took a victory lap, but the idea that people thought Justin Fields would take like a 2 year, $8 million deal is bananas in pajamas. Again, you are $40 million off. And that's a good indicator of why I think there's so much toxicity in the fan base, is that if you're viewing things through the lens of you can get Cooper Kupp for $3 million and Justin Fields for $4 million, you can keep, whatever, this player on a 1 year prove it deal, and you can trade Derek Carr for 2 first-round picks, or you can trade, I saw a trade for Chris Olave for T. Higgins it was like Chris Olave for T. Higgins and a second, I think. Like, if that's where if that's what you're seeing, and you're thinking, well, why aren't the Saints doing this? Why aren't we trading Chris Olave for 2 first? Why aren't we trading Derek Carr for a first-round pick? Why aren't we signing Cooper Kupp to a 1 year prove it deal? Why aren't we, like, if that's what you think is happening in the NFL, like, I could definitely understand why you're looking at these moves the Saints are making and you think that they're horrible. Like, yeah, for sure. But they're not even close to like what's actually happening, what's really happening. The Justin Fields thing is a perfect example. There's a lot of people, and I see and hear a lot. I mean, we get hundreds of comments a day, hundreds, and we try and read them all. But there's some where it's like, sign Justin Fields for $3 million, sign Aaron Rodgers to a veteran minimum, let them compete with Spencer Rattler. It's like, wow. Whoa. Like, that's some like Grateful Dead dropping acid in the Sphere in Las Vegas type stuff. Like, that's you're moonwalking on the sun. You are at a, damn, you are talking to Jesus. You are seeing the devil. You know what I mean? So that also is probably a bit of a reason why there's some hostility with some of the moves here.
The last time I really felt like they were trying to do whatever they had to do to win. They couldn't find the right quarterback, but it's kind of just felt like we're going to try to not be bad and hope that we can win. And like, I just want to see like just a little bit more toward either be
one
bad
direction or the other.
Good. Yeah.
I didn't mind it when I really saw the 10-win path. Like, I there were a couple of years. I think the first year they signed Derek Carr, I don't know if I picked them to win 9 or 10 games that year. I thought they were going to win the NFC South that year. And so that was just 2 years ago.
And they tied for it. It was a
last
tiebreaker.
year, like I said, I picked them to be an 8 and 9 team, but I
last
didn't
year was
mind
a
it because I didn't
complete
think
anomaly.
they didn't get trade up in the draft. They didn't give up any future draft picks. They didn't spend a ton of money in free agency. They made a couple of smart measured signings. I was okay with that, but yeah, I don't know what I see right now. I would need to see a couple more players to really think they could win the NFC South, though, and I'm sort of leaning toward, well, at least try to win the NFC South at this point because you're not resetting yet. So I think we're on the same page there.
If you are putting an 8 to 10 win team on the field, which is what the Saints are trying to do, then you are inherently trying to win the NFC South. Like, this is where I'm kind of confused because they are saying, like Mike just said, if you're going to try and win the NFC South, try and win the NFC South. But they are obviously trying to win the NFC South. Like, they are obviously in line to compete with it. Now, does that mean that'll happen? No. Like, of course, injuries can happen. Players can. Who the hell knows? You know, like the draft hasn't happened. Again, we have no idea what's going to take place. So, but on one hand, they're saying this is somewhere between an 8 to 10 win team. Free agency's not over. The draft's about to happen. They're already better. And then on this hand, they're saying, well, try and win the NFC South. And it's like that meme from The Office where it's like they're both the same picture. They are an 8 to 10 win team. Thus, they are trying to win the NFC South. And thus, times 2, we still have free agency in the draft where they will get younger and get smarter with contracts. So, all right. Conversation was all over the place. Talked on a lot of different topics. So get on down in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Of course, I'll be reviewing and replying and commenting and all that stuff down there. So can't wait to read what you have to say. Ladies and gentlemen, I will see you in the next video.